So that pushes us up above kind of fair value. Well, then what happens is we get the parabolic, crypto fall, kind of the Indian summer, the big move. And that's where the punters come in, right?
Yeah.
The really levered.
Yeah.
And they're going to push the price way above fair value. And then we'll have another crash, another crypto winter. But so I would say that's a long-winded way of saying kind of between now and the halving in April, my guess is we drift upwards towards 50K. From
you look
April to the following April, that's where I think we could double or even treble into the fair value. By then will drift upwards toward that 100K, which is what I think is fair value for this halving.
Hello, and welcome to Money Talks. In today's video, Mark Yusko takes us through his analysis and prediction for the next crypto bull cycle, and Mark wants to make sure that you are ready for what is coming next. So without further ado, let's get started with the video.
I mean, I hate to say it because I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but I think we're really just getting started.
Yeah.
Look, the cyclicality of digital assets is real. It's this 4-year cycle. And why do we have a 4-year cycle? Fear and greed. And it's kind of baked into or coded actually into the way Bitcoin in particular works, right? You have these block rewards, the amount of money or the amount of Bitcoin that is rewarded to miners for securing the network. Every 4 years, that number gets cut in half. Now, whoever thought of this, whoever he, she, they, Satoshi happens to be, it's absolutely mad genius. Well, why is it mad genius? Well, it creates movement. Well, why does it do that? Well, if you think about it, the miners, their core costs are basically fixed, electricity and the machines. And so if suddenly your revenues were cut in half because the block rewards get cut in half, most of them will go out of business. So what has to happen? The price has to rise. So there's a built-in movement of the price. And once the price starts to rise, people start to follow, right? That's what traders do. They look for movement.
Yep.
And then that creates more movement. And so we get this exacerbation of the trend. Now, part of the problem is it starts undervalued because the beginning of the cycle post the halving usually occurs around, a period after the crash, the previous crash.
Right.
So we have crypto winter, prices fall, prices are undervalued, anticipation of the next halving comes along, and investors start accumulating assets. Well, what's an investor? An investor is someone who buys an asset that sells below its fair value. So today, fair value, depending on the model that you look at, the model I like, which is based on Metcalfe's law, says that fair value of Bitcoin is around 55K. Okay, so at 30K, we're below that. So as an investor, I like to buy assets that are below fair value. Well, then what will happen is as you get out of crypto winter into crypto spring, which a year ago we went into crypto spring, as we talked about, it's choppy, it's volatile. You kind of don't end up much different. I think over the past year, we're up about 50%. Now, that's a good move, but it's not the 100% off the cyclical low, but it's a nice move. Well, now, as of this June 15th, a month ago, now we're in crypto summer. Well, what's crypto summer? Crypto summer is the year leading up to the halving. Usually has an upward bias toward that fair value. So my guess is that between now and the halving in April, we'll drift slowly and calmly up toward that fair value.
Ripple Labs scored a major win in its battle with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, with XRP deemed as not a security when sold on digital asset exchanges. However, some lawyers argue an appeal is possible and that it may not necessarily help in cases against Binance and Coinbase. Binance has reportedly laid off over 1,000 workers in recent weeks as the cryptocurrency exchange grapples with regulatory challenges and a U.S. Justice Department investigation. On July 14, the Wall Street Journal reported that the Changping Zhaolin exchange could lose more than a third of its staff as layoffs continue. Sources indicated that service workers, particularly in India, experienced the brunt of the job cuts. Zhao has referred to the reported layoff figures as FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
The early adopter move is over, right? I mean, we're past the kind of 11% early adoption. You think about the S curve. You get the first 10, 11% over the first decade. You get the next 80% over the next decade, and then the maturity, after that. And so I think we're past early adoption. Now, part of the challenge is the law of large numbers, right? When we went from the first halving from 10 to 100, 10x move, okay? That was pretty easy because you're talking really tiny numbers, didn't need a lot of volume to get to $100 a coin. I mean, and then you went to 100 to 1,000, another 10x move. And that's a little harder, but still pretty easy. You go to 1,000 to 10,000. That was the last halving. That was tougher, although, we went right through 10,000, right up to 20,000 before the crash. Well, this halving, I think, is 100,000 at fair value. So it's a 10x between halvings. Why 10x? There are lots of different reasons for why that works on the Metcalfe's law parabola. But let's just say we get to that 100,000 for fair value. Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder to go from 10,000 to 100,000 than it is from 1,000 to 10,000, right? Just need more people, more dollars. Yep. The market cap gets bigger. We're talking trillions, plural, as opposed to half a trillion. So I think it will be tougher to get the same kind of percentage move, but the total dollar move will be much bigger.
Yeah.
And that's where this supply demand comes in.
Exactly.
Not if, but when, and I believe when BlackRock is awarded their crown and they become the king and they get the first Bitcoin ETF, even though they don't, I won't say deserve it in the sense that they were not doing the early adoption work. They were not, the ones there believing in it, but now they are part of the inner circle and they know who to influence. I won't say anything negative, but they know who to influence to get the job done. Yeah. And so I think they'll get the first one. Now, whether anyone else gets it, I don't know. I look at the gold ETF, right? The gold ETF delayed 4 years. 4 years we waited for the gold ETF. And then they gave it to one group. GLD took off. Now, there are other gold ETFs that came along, right, but they're smaller. GLD really is the axe.
On July 13, authorities arrested Alex Mashinsky, the former CEO of Celsius Network. He faces criminal and civil charges stemming from his time at the cryptocurrency lending platform, which he helped co-found in 2017. Though the potential criminal proceedings of Mashinsky and the indictment of Celsius are ongoing, the events of this week have been a culmination for many crypto users affected by the collapse of the platform. There were likely issues facing Celsius prior to the crypto market crash of 2022, but the collapse of Terra put a spotlight on the lending platform's instability. Founded in 2017, Celsius Network grew to have more than 1.7 million customers and $25 billion in assets under management at its peak during the global pandemic. However, a crypto market downturn shed light on the firm's leveraged trading practices and contributed to its downfall.
Sadly, cycles repeat. So we will have another bear market, right? After we run, because again, I say, that's just me, I say fair value for this halving sometime in 2024 is 100K. Okay, that's my view. Okay. I think we'll go far beyond that because greed and speculative fervor and leverage. Now, I don't think there'll be as much leverage this cycle, Paul, as there were in the last ones.
Right.
So could we get to 200K? Could we get to 250K? Tim Draper and I have talked about that 250 number as kind of half the value of gold. Yeah, I could see that.
So what's your price prediction for Bitcoin at the end of 2023? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.